Hey everyone, this is the Blackjack hacker here and welcome to a brand new video. So today I'm going to explain you the Blackjack card counting tutorial for beginners in 2020. So in this video I'm going to explain you exactly what is card counting and how it works. It's really a great way to make a lot of money from the casinos and make profits in the long term. So basically, what is card counting? It's really simple. Card counting is a strategy that lets blackjack players know when the advantage is in their favor so they can beat the casino and make loads of profits. When card counters have the advantage, they increase their bets. So it could be $100, $200. And when card counters do not have the advantage, they place really small bets or they just don't bet at all because the goal is to make lots of money. So you don't want to bet a lot when you know that you're in a disadvantage. Now, how does card counting work? It's really simple. All you need to do is to keep track of something called the running count throughout the shoe. And remember that you can only start counting the cards when it's a brand new shoe and the beginning of a new game. So each card has a value for the running count. High cards such as ace, king, queen, jack, and 10 have a running count of -1. 7, 8, 9 are valued at 0, and the low cards like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 are valued at +1. Now, if you didn't know, the high cards are really good for us, the players, because high cards allow us to get a lot of blackjacks. And as you know, when you get a blackjack, you get paid 3 to 2. So high cards are really good for the players to have. And also it's really good when you have a double down opportunity. Let's say you have 2 5s in the beginning of a hand and the dealer has a 9, so that means you have a 10, so you can easily double down versus a dealer's 9. And if there's a lot of high cards left in the game, there's a high chance of you getting a 10, so you're gonna have 20 and the dealer is probably gonna get 19 or lower, which means you will win in most of the cases. Now, low cards are really not good for a player. Why? Because they really represent bad hands at the beginning, like 16, 15, 14. You can get really bad hands with low cards. And also, when you get those type of hands, you have no choice to hit if the dealer has a high card. So most of the time you'll bust. So that's why it's really not good to have low cards. Now, 7, 8, 9 are valued at 0 because they're neutral, okay? So they're not, they're not good for you, but they're not really bad for you either. It's as good for the dealer to have 7, 8, 9 than you to have 7, 8, or 9. So it's maybe a bit complicated to explain like this, so I'm just gonna give you a quick example on the whiteboard to really show you how it works. So basically over here you can see this is a screenshot of an online casino, and as you can see you only need to start counting the cards if it's the beginning of the shoe. So as you can see over here, it's the beginning of the shoe because the tray over here doesn't have any cards in it, so it's the first hand of the brand new shoe. And in online casinos, most of the shoes have a total of 8 decks. So as you can see, the first 2 cards over here, now the first card is an ace, so an ace is valued at -1, and the second card over here is valued at +1 because it's a low card, it's a 2. So as you can see right over here, if you do -1 +1, your running count right now is at 0. Simple math, right? So then if you go check into the next cards, as you can see, the 6 over here is a low card, so you add +1 to the count. Now the 9 over here is a neutral card, so it's 0. So your running count in total is +1 right now, because remember that you were at 0 and now you added 1 to the count because there's an extra low card. So right now your count is at +1. And now the card over here is a 7, and a 7, again, it's a neutral card, so the count is valued at 0 here. So your total running count for these first 5 cards is +1, okay? So it's really simple, okay? So I'm gonna go more in detail on the other stuff you need to know about counting cards and when it can become profitable. So when is the game profitable? The game is profitable when the true count is at +2 or better, okay? So basically what is a true count, guys? It's really simple. It's the running count divided by the number of decks remaining. So let's take the previous example we used on the whiteboard before. So let's go back there. So as you can see, like we said before, the running count is +1. But as you know, the shoe just started, so there's still a total of 8 decks remaining. So what will you do over here? That means to calculate the true count, you would do your running count, which is +1 right now, divided by the number of decks remaining, which is 8 in this case. Now 1 divided by 8 equals a true count of around 0.12 or something like that. So it's really low, and it's not even close to being +2. So you're still not in an advantage, but you'll see that if you would continue playing throughout the shoe, the count would probably get better, and at one point you can place bigger bets and make profitable bets to make money in the long term. But in the beginning of the shoe, you're rarely going to have a true count of +2. It's near the end of the shoes, usually you're going to get some good true counts and you'll be able to place big bets. So I'm just going to explain you a bit more about the true count. So we have a true count chart over here. So every time the true count increases by 1, the player gains a 0.5% edge over the casino. And that is why we start betting more and betting big when you have a true count of +2 or better, because you know that you have a 0.5% edge over the casino at a +2 count. So a lot of people are mistaken with this. A lot of people have been telling me like, oh, well, so why wouldn't I bet at a +1 true count? I would gain a 0.5% edge over the casino with a +1 true count, but that is not true. At a +1 true count, you still do not have an edge. You're actually neutral with the dealer, okay? Because remember that like in every casino game, the casino already has an integrated edge over the players. That's why casinos make a lot of money, because there's a lot more losing players than winning players, because their games are built to make you lose in the long run. But there's certain things you can do, like card counting, to actually beat the game and become a winning player in the long run. So that means when there's a fresh new shoe and just it completely starts over again, so you start at a true count of 0 and a running count of 0. Well, at a true count of 0, you're at a disadvantage of 0.5%, because if you know how to play blackjack perfectly, that's what the average house edge is. Okay, they usually have a 0.5% edge on you. So that's why at a true count of 0, you start at a disadvantage. At a +1 true count, it's 50-50, and at a +2 true count, you have a 0.5% edge. So that means at a +3 true count, you have a 1% edge. +4 true count, you have 1.5% edge, and it can really go like close to up to 10% edge if you can reach a true count of 14. Yes, it can happen sometimes, guys. So yeah, it can really become profitable in the long term. Now, another thing you really need to apply and learn by heart is basic strategy. Okay, a lot of people may notice, but I'm still gonna explain what it is, because for the beginners out there, it's really important to learn this before you start card counting. So basic strategy is basically a chart that tells you what to play depending on what hand you have versus the dealer. So for example, if you have a 12 and the dealer's up card is a 2, well, it recommends you to hit. Okay, if you have 2 6s versus a dealer's 4, it's recommended to split. Okay, so it really tells you everything you should play depending on what your hand is versus a dealer. And this is why you really need to learn it, because that's why the casino only has a 0.5% edge over you when you use this, because if you don't use this, the casino can easily have a 5 to 10% edge over you, which will make card counting not profitable for you. So you need to learn this and combine this with card counting for you to be a profitable player. Now, I will have a link in the description to a basic strategy chart that you can download. So I've created a basic strategy chart, and yeah, it's really simple to use. You can learn it in a couple of days, and then you're going to be good to go. Now, when do you leave the table when you're card counting? So basically, with my personal experience, I like to leave blackjack table when the true count is -2 or lower, because remember that especially if the true count is -2 or lower and it's already half of the shoe has been dealt, it's really rare that it goes back up to a +2, +3, +4 true count. So basically what you're doing there is just losing money for nothing, because you know that the true count is probably not going to be even that good even before the shoe ends. So what I do, if the true count starts getting really bad, like -2, -3, -4, I just leave the table and try to hop on another table to see if there's better true counts and if there's better cards than the previous table I've went on. Or you can also leave when you are satisfied with your profits. Okay, some people like to have a profit goal, and once they meet it, they leave the table. Or some people just say, okay, I'm gonna stay there for like 3-4 hours, and depending on whatever profit I have, I'm gonna leave the casino. In card counting, there's also a really important step to really make it profitable, is to set card counting bet spreads. So bet spreads is basically just the different types of betting patterns you need to use to make your card counting work. Okay, so basically it's really simple. You need to bet more when the count is in your favor, and you bet really small when the count is not in your favor. So a great example of a popular bet spread is the 1 to 8 bet spread. So basically it means that you're gonna bet in between 1 unit and 8 units. So a unit is basically your base bet that you decide. Okay, it can be $10, $100, $1,000. It really depends on what is your bankroll and how much money you have to play at the casino. But in this example, let's just take the $10 base bet. So the player should bet 1 unit, which means $10 at a true count of +1 or lower. He should bet 2 units, which means $20 in this case, at a true count of +2. 4 units at a true count of +3, and 8 units at a true count of +4 or higher. So this all makes sense, because remember that the higher your true count is, the higher your edge is. So you really want to place those big bets, like $80 bets, when you have a big advantage, because most of the time you'll win those bets. And when let's say your true count is at -1, well, you only want to bet like really small amounts, like $10, because you know that most of the time you're going to lose those bets. So basically what it does is that you're winning big and only losing small, and that's what makes it so profitable. Now the last step to card counting is definitely important. You need to practice before going in your local casino or trying it in online casinos, because it does take practice. Like, you can't just learn this in a single day. You need to memorize the count really fast. So usually some people, it takes a couple of days, a couple of weeks, or even a couple of months. But once you master it, it really is a money-making machine. So basically, try to practice at home. Just master your card counting skills and carry a deck with you. So basically you can buy a deck at a dollar store or even at Walmart. And what you do is just, you need to count down an entire deck. And usually if you do it correctly, the count will come out to 0 once you finish counting the 52 cards deck. Why? Because there's as much low cards than high cards in the deck. So that's why you will end up at a 0 count when you finish counting the deck. So basically what you do, just shuffle the cards and then just flip the first card and see what the count is, then flip the other card and flip another one, and just do it as fast as you can by memorizing the count. And usually if you're able to count an entire deck in under a minute or something close to a minute, you're usually good to go in the casinos, because remember, the dealers in real life casinos, they deal really fast, so you really need to keep track of the count without losing it. So that's why you really need to practice before and really see if you're good enough to try it out in your local casino or even in online casinos. So yeah guys, hopefully you enjoyed the video. Make sure to like and subscribe, we'll really appreciate it. And basically just stay tuned, because I'm gonna basically give you guys more tips and tricks on card counting. It's a really nice way to make money. Anyone can do it. So yeah, make sure to subscribe and see you in the next one. Bye bye guys.